Hey guys, what's up? I'm Pippa and I come to you fresh-faced, no makeup, for my update 4 of my project Pan. So, let's just hop right in. Okay, so the first shade that I'll be talking about is from my Konnichiwa Tokyo palette from Essence, and it's shade A2, which is this shade over here. And as you can see, I am actually getting quite a dip in it, which is quite exciting. I don't know if I'll hit pan. I don't know how deep these pans are. I don't think they're super deep, so I think maybe in the next month or so we can hit pan. It does look like there's a little pan there, but that's actually just a sparkle. So yeah, let me swatch this out. So that is the Konnichiwa Tokyo shade. It's a beautiful shade. I've actually been using it a lot with the shade I'm going to be talking about next. I blend it out. Start with this shade in the crease and then pop that in the outer corner and then blend it out with this next shade that I'm going to be talking about, which has actually been in here the longest. It's been in here from the start of the project and I'm really hoping to get it out next month. My goal is either 30 uses or pan, and with the shade I have used it an additional 4 times this month for a total of 10 uses. So that is the Konnichiwa Tokyo shade. The next shade I'm going to be talking about is from my Kaleidos Flower Punk palette, and it is the shade Golden Age. So this is the shade that's actually been in here the longest. It's the shade over here. And this is a shade that I've been using. I find it looks very mustard yellow, but when you use it on the eyes with other warm tones, it actually comes out quite greenish. It's got a very green undertone. So I use this shade with that other shade that I was talking about and then just pop this right on the top, up, blending it up into my crease and then on my bottom lash line, and it kind of looks like a little sunset effect, which is really beautiful. So I have used this an additional 4 times as well. I always use these 2 shades together. So now it has been in the project for 4 months and I have used it a total of 24 times. So hopefully next month or this month coming I use it the additional 6 times and we can roll this out. I don't think I'll hit pan on this shade. I use a very little bit of it when I use it, and I use it on a very fluffy brush, so it's not like I'm digging into the shade or anything, and I'm okay with that. I don't really want to hit pan in this palette. I really love this palette and I love how it looks, so yeah. The next shade I'm going to be talking about is from my Rose Gold Nudes palette from Beauty Treats, and it is the shade E1, which is right at the bottom row, and it's the shade over here, which as you can see I have actually managed to hit pan. This palette is the bane of my existence and I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of use in it this year so that I can declutter it from my collection, or at least get a magnetic palette and take some of the shades out, because there are a lot of repeats in here, but I am happy to have hit pan on this shade. I use this a lot with another shade that I'm going to be talking about last, and yeah, that's how I managed to hit pan. So that is that shade swatched out. I've put it on this hand because it's going to be rolling out of the project and we'll roll a new shade in for this one. I used this shade an extra 2 times this month for a total of 10 uses to hit pan. These shades are very dusty, so they are quite easy to hit pan on, but it was a really beautiful shade, I must admit. I really liked it for one shadow look or blend it out with some other pinks, because it does actually look quite pink on the eyelids. You don't get as much of that brown undertone. The next shade that I'm going to be talking about is from my Revlon Not Just Nudes palette, and it is the shade B3, which is on the bottom row, and it is the shade over here. So as you can see, I also managed to hit pan on this shade. This was actually a very easy shade to use. I blended this out into the crease with this shade over here, used it a whole bunch, and I've really enjoyed it. I actually also used it in my eyebrows. So the dent is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, it is quite scented, but I did also use a fluffy brush, so it has gotten rid of some of the products around that pan too. So that is this next shade down below. As you can see, they go quite well together. I used this shade an additional 4 times for a total of 16 uses to hit pan in this project. The shade was quite used prior, so it wasn't only 16 uses to hit pan, but yeah. And then the last shade that I'm going to be talking about is one that I rolled in last month, and it is from this Modern Matte palette from Beauty Treats, and it's the first shade in the palette, which is this really nice baby pink. I've actually been using this a lot to blend out another shade that I actually hit a bonus pan on that I'll talk about next. I used this 5 times this month for a total of 5 times. So this will stay in the project. I don't know if I'll be able to hit pan. There's not much of a dent going on. There's a little bit of usage showing on the top, but I do use a very fluffy brush with this, so I don't think I'll be able to hit pan necessarily, but I will enjoy the 30 uses that I will get on this. So these are the 3 shades staying in for this month, and these are the 2 shades that we need to roll for again. We rolled out the 2 neutrals and kept in all the colourful colours, so let's just get on to rolling. But before we do that, I just want to talk about the bonus pan that I hit this month, which is actually from a palette that on the side trying to do like a little bit of a pan that palette with, and it's obviously like everyone else. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance, so let me grab that quickly. So this is my Modern Renaissance. It's looking very beat up and dusty, crusty, musty. I've had this for years, so the formula still works really well, but you can tell that it's old, and I'm just really wanting to roll this out of my collection, get a whole bunch of use on it before I do, because this is very expensive. So yeah, our palette is looking very beat up, so please excuse it. But actually the bonus pan that I hit this month was on this shade Love Letter, which I used in conjunction with this shade. I blended this into the crease and then popped this in my outer corner, and since I hit pan on this shade, I'm going to start doing that with Venetian Red over here. So I do only have 2 shades left in this palette to pan, and then just as like little goals for me, I finished this, I haven't finished it yet. I want to finish Tempera. There's very, very little left in the bottom there. I've finished Primavera. I'm going to finish Vermeer soon. I use this as a highlight. It's really beautiful on the face. And then all these shades I have hit pan on I hit pan on ages ago. So hoping to finish some of them there and hit pan on Real Gar, so that I can have pan in all of the shades in this palette, which is really exciting. So that's the bonus pan that I hit this month. Please let me know if you want me to document this little project pan or pan that palette on my channel as well. I'm very happy to do so. The updates won't be as regular. It will kind of only be when interesting movements happen and all of that. So let me know in the comments, and yeah, so that's my Modern Renaissance palette. And with that bonus pan, we do have an increase in our pan percentage, but I did also bring another palette into my collection this month. I've been eyeing this palette for so long, and someone ended up selling it, so I purchased it from them. And that's actually the Moondust Shadow palette from Urban Decay. I know this thing is years old and probably not as good as it used to be, but wow, it is so beautiful. So we have added an extra 8 shades into my collection. Absolutely beautiful. Love, love, love this palette. I've been using it quite a lot. I use this shade with the front top 2 there blended out on the lid. So with those additional shades added and the new pans hit added, my pan percentage is now sitting at 10.74, which is really exciting. I finally got above 10. As I said last week, I am aiming for 15% by the end of this year, so I probably won't bring any new palettes into my collection. I do have enough for now. But yeah, let's just get into rolling the 2 new shades to replace these 2 shades for this month. So I have my Pretty Random app over here, and I have from 1 to 242, which is the amount of eyeshadows in my collection that do not have pan on them. So I'm just going to randomize 2 new numbers and see what we bring in. So 106, and the next number, is 200. So let me check what those are and I'll be right back with those colors. Okay, so the first shade that we rolled in was 106, and that is from my James Charles and Morphe palette. I don't support the creator anymore, but that doesn't matter, I still have the palette. And 106 is shade 18, which is shade Face. So my palette obviously doesn't have the names on it, and my palette is looking very beat up. I did actually change some of these shades for one in the Aha Honey, but I'm also aware that these aren't magnetic, so I did have to like kind of pry them out. So my palette is looking beat up, so please excuse that, but let's just find out what shade number 18 is. Okay, so shade number 18 Face is one that I actually swapped out, and it is this shade over here, so it's kind of like a bright yellow. It's a very beautiful shade. It will go really nicely with the top two, which is very exciting. I can use this to blend out my shade from the Konnichiwa Tokyo palette. It's very beautiful. Should be quite easy to use for 30 times. I don't think I'll hit pan on this because it doesn't have much use in it, and it is a Colourpop matte shade from the Aha Honey palette. And those are notoriously hard to hit pan on. Please, again, just excuse the way this palette looks. So there at the bottom is the shade Face. I actually can't even tell you what the shade name is from the Aha Honey palette, but this is the shade that we are going to be bringing in, and I think that will be relatively easy to use. The next shade that I'm bringing in was shade 200, which is from my Revolution palette. It's called something, it has a specific name, but it just says the Reloaded Iconic Division on the back. It's the one that's kind of like a dupe for the Subculture palette, and shade number 200, let me just check what that is. Okay, so shade number 200 is shade B5, which will be in this second row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will be this end one, which is a nice, again, neutral brown. Nice to replace this bottom brown with. So there's that shade from the Reloaded palette. It's quite beautiful. Will be easy to use again. It will more kind of just be like an eyebrow shade for me and a crease shade when I'm just doing a one and done shadow look. So that is my color story for this month. Let's get a bit of a closer look at that. And yeah, so feeling quite confident for this month that I'll be finished I would have reached my usage goal for Golden Age. Could possibly hit pan in the shade depending on how much I use it. If I only use it the 6 times with Golden Age, I doubt I will, but yeah, feeling quite confident that we will have rolled Golden Age out of there. Don't think I'll hit pan in any new shades specifically, because this one I don't know if I'll ever hit pan on just because of the brush that I use with it. This one, same situation, and this one, it really depends how deep those pans are in that Reloaded palette. So yeah, I hope you join me again next month for my update number 5, and I'm really excited. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.